Hi everyone, this is Sweety and my art school is Sweety Saradha Arts. A lot of people have been asking me to make a video for a very long time now, so I thought, okay, why not try one with one of my family's favorite painting, that is my Dolphin family. This particular painting is a combination of acrylic and oil paints. I really love oil paints, and but to get the depth and richness of the colors, it's always better to have some base coat and then we glaze it using oil paints. So I have prepped my canvas by applying gray gesso. The reason why I went with gray is I don't want like too dark, too light. So gray being the neutral tone. So we'll always start with gray and then we will build up the highlights and shadows. So it just brings the whole painting to life. So let's start. And the paints that I have been using is here. Artist Loft Flow Acrylic. The reason why I use this, I call it as a magic paint because a lot of people who are trying it for the first time, there are chances that they make mistakes. So this particular paint is amazing. The reason is, say for example here, I am taking a little bit of paint and I'm doing it in a spot here where I don't want. And now if I have to clean it up, it's really, really simple. I just use a little bit of paper towel and a little water. You see what's happening. It just goes away. So it's really a magic paint. So yes, this will happen only until the paint is wet. So this is not the case with acrylic. Acrylic, if you use the same way, it will leave spots. It's really hard to get it out. So teaching so many students all the time, I was always wondering like, what is it that I can use to avoid fixing it way too many times. So this particular paint will help you out, for especially for first timers. So let's start. Okay, let's start the painting by using the black acrylic flow. So I'm just taking a flat brush and load your brush in a way that it's from the side. Please don't dip your brush right inside, and you don't need a lot of paint. So just be careful not to add too much paint. So just take it from the side like this and then you can start. So you have to see where you want your shadows to be. So let's start from the baby dolphin. So we'll do it from here. And you don't need a lot of paint. So you need to remember that just take a little bit of paint. So here if you see, I'm just adding some shadow colors. So it's if you guys have tried using charcoal, this is exactly that you do with charcoal and the blending tool that we use. So don't take too much paint, just take a little bit and that should be enough to work with. If you can see, I'm just using the smudging technique. I'm not actually taking a whole lot of paint except for the places where I really think that there will be a deep shadow. I'm going to add some light rays from the top. So when that happens, this area will cast a really dark shadow. So that's what I'm trying to make. So build up the colors wherever you think there will be shadows. And why are we doing this black first? Because unless and until you have your darks, your lights are not going to show up better. So dark is your friend. So build them first. So if you guys are not comfortable drawing, I also do sell these pattern. So for specifically designed for 18 by 24 size canvases. So you can just keep it, trace it, and then just start working. This is a really good painting to start with. Like if you have never ever tried painting before, trust me, this is not hard. The only trick to this particular painting is please don't add too much paint. If you can see, I'm just adding hardly any paint. Please keep it really light. If you don't, because this is a common mistake, what everyone does, like they just go with way too much darker color and it's so hard to get it out. But again, like, I mean, it's acrylic. You can just go over it once it dries, but still, I mean, it looks good if it is right in the first shot, you know. And here, I'm just going to do it really light, not too much, because I'm still going to make it a little bit darker color compared to the background. The reason is I am going to add some light on top of these dolphins, which will look better if we have darks. As I said, darks are your friend. Perfect. That's enough. Let's do the tail now. No, let's do the fins. So here there is one little fin that is on the back side, and then here we will add the highlights. Then you can see it better. But right now, let's just add a little glaze of color there, and that should do it. Let's start with the next dolphin. So highlights. So for the highlights, we will be using the same acrylic flow. Yes, this one, it's also same from Artist Loft brand. So it's actually not like really pure white. It's again, as I said, it's a little transparent. Usually whites are opaque, but this particular one is a little transparent. So it will really help you out to go in with a mid-tone, not to go like really pure white unless and until we really need to add some highlights. So that we will do it with the regular acrylic. So let's start with this one. So load your brush. Same way from the side. Don't dip it all the way inside the paint. So there, and start with the highlights. You can use quite a bit of paint. It's not like the black acrylic where you have to be really careful. You can use a little bit more paint compared to that, because it's not actually pure white, as I said. It is white, but it's a transparent white, so it will still be okay. And we are just doing it in the places where we actually did not add any color. So in the gray areas, you can go there. And to have a nice transition, if you can see what I'm doing is, in the gray area, I'm just going there and applying it. And when I'm coming towards the black, I'm just very lightly, I'm just moving my brush over it. And since it's transparent, it will just go over the black and it will not make it chalky. So what do you mean by chalky? Chalky is like whenever you add white to any particular color, it will just make it really like chalk-like. So it will just dull down the color. But here, since it's a transparent white, it will not do that way too much. It will still do it, but that's what we are looking for, because we need a nice soft transition to give the roundness to the animal. So yeah. This is a little hard to get with the regular acrylic if you are doing it for the first time. So this is a very nice product. And go in with nice highlights in all the places where you really want nice bright highlights. So right now it's all black and white, but once we glaze it with oil paints, magically everything will come to life. So it's really beautiful. And if you are a first timer, trust me, you are going to really have fun doing this particular painting, because it's not hard. Anybody can do this. I'm not covering everything up. If you can see, I'm just leaving some gaps from where your grease can show through. Do you see that? Once you add that, start with the edges. Always clean up all your beautiful edges and try to make it look like as though it's in front. And see, flick, flick, flick. So automatically this looks as though it's in front. So yeah. And in some places we will add white pure acrylic to get the color clean. Okay, so let's move on here. Touch, flick. Okay, and the tail. If you can see, I'm just working on the edges first and then bring the color in a little bit. And it's a tail, so just go like straight like this. Yeah. Okay, I think that is enough there. Let's move on to the regular acrylic, and we will add the really bright highlights now. So you can use the same brush, load your brush from the edge. So please don't do like pure white highlights like literally everywhere. It will not look nice. Let's just do it in the places where we really think the light hits. If you can see, this white acrylic is actually much more white. can see, this white acrylic, it's not like blending or flowing as nicely as the other floor acrylic. The place where you apply, it stays. So that's not the case with the other one. It just softly blends nicely. That's why I really love that product. Okay, I think that's good enough. Oh. I'm going to show you how to do the bubbles. Really fun and easy step. So load your brush with a small brush. You load your brush with the paint, and the bubbles are really simple. So let's do the darker color at the bottom, and then flick. With the same dirty brush, dip your brush in white, and then go up like that, and then pull down like that, and then add a little bit black, go over it, and then more black lines, because we are going to add a nice beautiful glow on the black. Dip it and touch. That's all. So that's how you make the bubbles. You can make as many bubbles as you want. So I'm just going to make a few. And it's not necessary that they have to be circle. You can make it in different shapes. Not all the bubbles are circle. Maybe one that is really a big one. There. Dip. And pull down. And then just make sure that the glow that you're adding, all the glows have to be in the same spot. The next step is a super fun step. Why? The reason is because we are going to work on the bottom area, and which is really nice and fun. For that, I'm going to use a really big brush. So, and very important thing is use a lot of paint. Let's move on and let's add some cliff here, okay? So, I'm just going to use black on both the sides, quite a bit of white, and then here, let's start there, and then a lot more white and just some squiggly lines. And it's a really thick paint, and then I'm just taking some black and then flick down, and again a lot of white. Just like that. A lot of white. Take a little black. I know right now you'll be thinking, what am I doing? Trust me, it'll look nice once I'm done. Those are all like little clips. And maybe here and there, you know what? We can add some of these. Touch, add pressure, release pressure. Some leaves are touch, add pressure, release pressure. You see that? Those are like some leaves. And that goes touch, add pressure, release pressure. You can have one white one. Okay, let me add a lot more white because now what's going to happen is all the white that you're going to see, these are the colors that are going to show up really nice as corals. And here you can make tap, 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 tap. A lot more white, tap, tap. It's really, really easy. So like that, maybe add a little more of black and white together, touch, touch, some stones, and then again, maybe one more cliff with a lot more white. There, and then a lot more black. And maybe I'm going to add one more coral. And I'm using quite a bit of paint. If you don't use enough paint, this step is not going to work. It might look a little messy right now, but trust me, it's okay. And here, go side to side stroke, just to make it look like as though that is the land and it's the sand. You can add some stones, so white on one side, black on the other. Touch, turn a little bit, and maybe you can also add a couple of leaves. There. So now that our acrylic part is dry, I have glazed the whole canvas with a thin even coat of liquid oil paint medium. So now we will start with the oil paint step. So since this whole thing, and you have to really remember that the oil paint medium has to be a really thin even coat, and it is really easy. So you just have to hold your canvas with one hand and then literally scrub it in. It's okay if you really have to add pressure while you scrub it in, but it is not okay if you add too much of the liquid clear. So I have glazed the whole canvas with a thin even coat of oil paint medium. Now I'm going to add the colors. So the colors that I'm going to add are all transparent colors, except for the white that I'm going to use for the highlights and the light that comes from the top. So what do you mean by transparent colors? So there are transparent, semi-transparent and opaque colors. So say for example, white is a opaque color, and there are other opaque colors. You will know which one is an opaque color or a transparent color if you look at the tube. So the blues and the greens, and I have also got a transparent black that I'm going to use for adding some details on the dolphins to add more depth to it. So let's start with blue. So the blue that I'm using is a phthalo blue. You need to load your brush in this way. Touch, pull, and if you want you can tap it. The reason why you tap is to get an even distribution of paint on your brush. So tap it nicely and then start from the top. You just have to do it. The stroke has to be side to side. Please don't go excess or this way. The reason is we are trying to create some water. So water, it is always better if you go side to side. So let's do that. And it totally depends on how dark or light you want your painting to be. So I would like to add make a little darker color. The reason is I want the lights to show up better. And as I said, dark is your friend, so don't kill it. It's okay if you go on the dolphins as well. If you can see, like I'm getting a line right in the middle. The reason is the board has, the canvas has wood in the back. So I'm just going to add a little pressure from the back here. That way it does not add way too much pressure over there and get a strong marking over there. And here you can just rub it and you can just spread it across. But try to keep your stroke side to side. And it's okay if in some places it is dark and the other places are light, because it is water. So maybe some places have some light shining up. So it's okay if it is uneven. Step is the step which I really don't like. The reason is it's way too messy. So let's start cleaning up the dolphins. So there is a way to do it. So just fold it around your finger like this. Don't keep it like this. You're going to make a big mess right there. So keep it nicely around your finger and then clean it up. And yes, we are going to add some more highlights on the dolphins and some shadows. So try to clean up as much as possible. If not, it's still okay because these dolphins are in the water, so they will have some blues. Just try to clean up as much as possible. If not, it's still fine. Next step is the step where we will add nice details, that is the highlights and the shadows. So let's start with the nice shadows. So we are going to use a transparent black to add beautiful shadows for the dolphin. So start from the area where it is really dark. So like that. You don't need way too much, just a little bit. And then just a little bit there. Okay, under the mouth. And for the fins. For the fins you can add a little bit more because we are going to add some light on that. And this already has that, and maybe a little bit there. It looks too bright there. There. And on the tail, just a little bit. think that's good enough. So basically you're just glazing it. Not adding too much, but just enough to make it look more rounded. Step, that is the lights on the top. So how do we do that? Really simple. Let's get one more brush, load the brush with titanium white. Okay, and then start from the top. Oops, got something. Okay, start from the top, and this stroke is really easy. You just have to do the rocking stroke and start from the middle, okay? It's really important to start from the middle, otherwise it will, the reason is you just want the middle to be the lightest. And if you can see, this is a nice rocking stroke. And I'm not holding my brush this way, it is this way. And reload your brush, as and when needed. Reload again. Every time I reload my brush, I'm still starting from the middle because I want the middle to be the brightest and the sides to be a little darker because I want the focus of the painting in the middle. Focus to be in the middle of my painting and not on my sides. Okay, now if you see, there are too many brush strokes, right? So it's really easy to get rid of your brush stroke just by going very gently, okay? It's very important that you have to do this step really gently. If not, you will not have that nice soft feel to it. I'm hardly adding any pressure. Just remember that you don't have to add too much pressure to do this step. And if you want, you can even add smaller strokes here. If you think maybe you want some more smaller strokes. So use the smaller brush, the same dirty brush that you used for the dolphin. Okay, again, get rid of your brush stroke very gently without adding too much pressure. Oops, I picked up something. Okay, very gently. Okay, now for the next step, we are going to add some rays. So when you are doing this, you have to be very careful not to go over the dolphins way too much because we don't want to smudge the dolphin. Because we have added some opaque colors on the dolphin as well. So again, white is an opaque color. So here, very test, right? Be careful not to add too much. not reloading my brush way too much because I don't want a like big white line in the middle of my painting. So I'm just adding a little bit of paint and picking up. And you decide how much you want on yours. I'm just going to add a little bit. I'm going to show you how it's done. How much? That's up to you. Okay, and then you can use side to side again there. That's pretty much it. Let's see if we need anything else. So that's it. This is the end of the painting. If you like it, please like and share. And if you have any comments, please do share. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So I also wanted to share my first dolphin family painting, and which I really love. So this was it. I just had 3 dolphins in this, so thought of changing a little bit. Hope you like it.